Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins.
And you're on the air with Power Squared. This week we're going to talk about content that seems to be disappearing off of a lot of streaming services, in particular HBOMax. So don't worry about this content going away, because we're still going to keep doing the show. But there's a lot of, in Hollywood, I guess, there's a lot of stuff, especially with HBO and Warner Brothers. You know, like they made a movie, Batgirl, and it's gone. Not going to show it. And there's some other Scooby-Doo thing they did.
Yeah, it was a Scoob movie.
Not going to show it. So it's kind of crazy. But we're also noticing that things are disappearing off of HBO Max. In some cases, originals that they created.
Yeah.
And in some cases, they finished the new season, but they're not going to show it for whatever reason. So they seem like they're throwing a lot of money away. Yeah. And disappointing a lot of people.
Yes, especially animation fans and creators.
Yes, and we'll get to that, how it affects us later.
Yeah.
Because it kind of does. So I want to talk about some of the shows that are being...
Yeah, so first, kind of a recap of what happened in August. They removed 36 titles, including 20 originals, looking at a list from Variety. The originals were 12 Dates of Christmas, About Last Night, Aquaman, King of Atlantis, Close Enough, Ellen's Next Great Designer, Esme and Roy, The Fungies, Generation Hustle, Generation, Infinity Train, Little Ellen, My Mom, Your Dad, Odo, Ravi Patel's Pursuit of Happiness, Summer Camp Island, The Not Too Late Show with Elmo, The Runaway Bunny, Theodosia, Tig and Seek, and Yabba Dabba Dinosaurs. The HBO originals were My Dinner with Hervé and Cher. The Cartoon Network content that was removed was Dodo, ironically, Elliot from Earth, Mau Mau Heroes of Pure Heart, Mighty Magiswords, OK KO, Let's Be Heroes, Uncle Grandpa, and Victor and Valentino. And their acquired titles were Detention Adventure, Messi Goes to Okido, Mia's Magic Playground, The Ollie and Moon Show, Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures, Make It Big, Make It Small, and Squish.
Okay. That's a lot of shows.
Yeah.
All at one time. Now, to take a sort of a corporate view of this, in some cases they're canceling shows they think are low rated.
Right.
They also are probably looking at things like participations and residuals for shows that are, again, low rated. Or maybe they just, and they're also trying to, because of the way mergers work, because Discovery, for whatever reason, bought Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has to pay back
there's billions of
dollars that they spent on it, and so they're probably looking at ways of cutting back. And they're sadly, it seems like, unfairly attacking animated shows as well as other shows.
Yeah.
And in some cases, they also could just lose the licensing.
But
these are originals, and so that's probably not the case.
Yeah, it kind of hurt especially hard with the animated side. For example, Summer Camp Island aired on Cartoon Network, linear television, and then it went to
linear television. Good.
And then it went to HBO Max and was considered an original, and the 6th and final season was supposed to air on there this year, but then it got pulled. So Cartoon Network put it back onto TV, and they're going to air it on TV.
Oh, okay. So it's not.
So at least Summer Camp Island will get its final season aired in some form. With Mau Mau, however, it really sucks because I was one of those people who was waiting years for season 2, and I guess this is a confirmation that's not happening. Even though they announced season 2 during Comic-Con. Okay. Or showed off part of it during Comic-Con at home.
Oh, yeah.
And interestingly, I was actually watching Mao Mao while writing a script for try to get into a program, and I was like 8 episodes away from the end. So then when they announced they were pulling stuff, like that night, I disregarded everything else I was gonna do and just finished watching the whole thing, and that turned out to be good because then they pulled it.
Okay, so it's gone.
Yeah. And what also sucks is that some of the shows that got pulled, there is no other way to watch it except for piracy. So it's those shows are considered lost media. And there are shows like Mao Mao that you can still buy digitally on places like Amazon, but it's probably not going to be there forever. So the only other way to watch that is piracy.
Now, I know it sounds like we're picking on HBOMax because we actually subscribe to that service. I know this happens. Netflix cancels shows all the time. And,
Yeah.
It just seems like it's a trend, especially with Warner Brothers. I mean, they launched CNN Plus and then canceled it within like a day after they launched it. I mean, it's just, and then part of that is, again, you're changing, owners and CEOs and all that, and so they're trying to put their brand on things and all that, but it just seems like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And especially when you finish products and then don't show them, you take the write-off. It just seems silly to me.
Yeah. And then what also ends up happening is people who are creating content, like for, again, HBOMax, they no longer want to work with them.
Well, they also had the problem where during the pandemic, or we're still in the pandemic, during the
height of the pandemic.
Yeah, that they were taking everything, not putting in theaters or putting on HBOMax. So you had a lot of directors that were upset because, hey, I was told it was going to be in a theater, not on a streaming service. So yeah, there's a lot of things happening in the industry that aren't predictable, I guess, especially with, as I say, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, just something flying around.
So, of those shows, so the 3 you watched were Infinity Train, Mao Mao,
and Summer Camp Island.
Okay, and do we know anything about the other shows at all?
Not too much. I have seen an episode of OKKO that was a crossover with Sonic the Hedgehog, and I saw an episode of Victor and Valentino. I think I saw it through TV, though. That was a crossover with Villainous, which I'm still hoping comes to the U.S.
Okay.
And isn't locked behind Latin America.
Now, wasn't the fungi something that they showed at one of those home...
Yeah, Comic-Con at home, they showed off the Fungies and Tig and Seek.
And the Fungies look kind of not so good, I thought.
Right. I wasn't sure of the quality either, but it still sucks for the creator.
Right. No, and that it always sucks when you get canceled or lose your job or whatever.
So there's something you're passionate about, like Close Enough. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. It was by the same creator as Regular Show.
Okay.
Regular Show was on Cartoon Network at the same time as Adventure Time. So there was always a argument of like which is better between Adventure Time and Regular Show. And Close Enough is, again, same creator, and that was aimed at an older audience.
Right.
Because it's basically about I think it's about like people who realize they're not really young anymore.
Who's that? Okay. All right.
Like, think closer to
your age. Yeah. Well, think about my age. Whew, way past not feeling young anymore.
Like people are approaching their 30s and realizing, oh no, I'm not young anymore.
Yeah, that does happen to you. Okay, so we don't really that familiar. We don't there's really almost too much. Not that this is an excuse, but there's almost too much television to keep up with.
Yeah.
And I don't have the time to really invest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a new series and all that kind of stuff. So, it's and I know we watch some of those shows, and I like some of those shows, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really. I'm not hurt that they're canceling the Fungies and things like that.
I know what you're trying to say.
But yeah, it's bad when things that get are just gone.
Yeah.
And one of the when they go onto like electronic sell through or which is what you're trying to do with buying it digitally.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I assume it used to be that way with books. Is we lost the license, so you lost it as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if when you actually buy an EST that you're actually going to own it forever. And what happens if what happens if Amazon goes away or what other platforms are?
Yeah. So.
Not that Amazon's going to go away, but.
But yeah, I think this has come up before, like when streaming services have taken stuff down because they like lose the license. Like I remember there was a conversation at least a few times where like Netflix had to take stuff off, and so they brought up the conversation like, how come I can't find this on Netflix?
Right. Well, one of their biggest shows used to be Friends.
Yeah.
Which you can watch on Nick at Night, but when they lost that because I thought Warner Bros. Wanted to put it on HBOMax. But I mean, so there's some shows like, again, you lose the license and you have to take the show. Like we were looking at a list and had Kill Bill volumes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
They just lost the licensing for that. That happens.
Yeah.
But it's sadder when you try to build up a show because like again they hyped Fungies in the other show on the
Take and Seek.
Yeah, and did that one get canceled too?
Yeah, that got pulled.
Yeah, so I mean
they got to release the show, but then it got pulled.
Right.
Because we need a tax write-off.
Yeah, that's where you realize that it's bean counters, not creators in charge.
Yeah, and then it can go into a larger discussion about like how animation has generally been mistreated compared to live action, because animation after all this time is still viewed as like the lesser form.
Well, and it also it's pretty expensive to do too, isn't it?
Yeah,
time consuming and.
Yeah, but so can live action.
Yeah, but I mean, I would imagine you could do a 10-week. The seasons are also pretty short sometimes, like 22 episodes is kind of, they don't do that anymore. It's like 10, right?
Yeah.
And I would imagine you could do a between the writing and the production of a 10-week show live, you could do it faster than you could do a 10-week animated show.
Yes. But like animation basically carried TV and film during the pandemic because nothing else could get made.
Right, and it's I mean I agree. I'm just trying to again look at it from a corporate point of view. I don't think it's probably more expensive than doing a live show because you're not paying the actors and all that and locations and all that.
Yeah, with animation you're pretty much only limited by your imagination, and the budget can also vary. Like if it's an Adult Swim show like Smiling Friends, that's still done like on the cheap.
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends on the.
With Rick and Morty, that's also done on the cheap generally, but the only reason it looks as good as it does is because it's rig-based animation.
And explain what that is.
Rig-based, you are not drawing, like they're not drawing Rick every frame.
Okay.
They're manipulating a puppet digitally.
Oh, digital puppet. Okay. Isn't that kind of what they do with CGI stuff anyway?
Yeah, but Rick is still a 2D model that they're manipulating, and they're just so good at manipulating it that you don't notice that it's a rig.
I see. Wow. So that's for the joints and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, early Rick and Morty, you can kind of tell. Compared to now, it's not as smooth because they didn't get as good at it as they are now.
Well, the longer you do something, hopefully the better you get at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And I don't see Rick and Morty going away anytime soon.
Unfortunately.
They have that. Well, how many more episodes? Like 50 to go or something? Anyway, it's a different story.
We digress.
Yes. So if I have a show that I like and it's on and it goes off the air, what my choices are? What, digital or
if they ever released a physical copy.
Now one of the shows that I thought was going off was Foster's.
Well, it's not that Foster's was confirmed to go off. It's just we got suddenly worried.
Okay.
About anything could go off now.
Right. Well, then that's probably always going to be true.
Yeah, but I mean, because HBOMax seemed like they were specifically going after the Cartoon Network stuff.
Okay.
And that was a Cartoon Network show.
So it's just panic.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's coming out on a complete series DVD. I don't know why they don't put it on Blu-ray, but DVD, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there other ways? Other choices? Yeah. There's DVDs.
Yeah. DVD. This, I guess in general, this also kind of brings up the discussion of the advantage of physical over digital.
Okay.
So with digital, if the content goes away, it's just gone. But if you have a physical copy, you can still look at it whenever you want.
As long as you have a player.
Yeah, and as long as you have the disc. One of the shows, Infinity Train, they had released 2 DVDs. Ours are still sealed, and we got them for $10 when they first came out. But as soon as what typically happens is as soon as digital goes away, people go after the physical, because now that's kind of the only way to watch it. So these sold out really quickly on Amazon, and now on eBay, people are trying to ask hundreds of dollars for them.
Oh. Wow. Well, that's, again, scarcity raises the price.
Yeah. But then what really sucks about Infinity Train is that there are 4 books or seasons, and only the first 2 got a physical DVD release. So currently, with books 3 and 4, your only options are buying them digitally on Amazon or pirating them.
Okay. Yeah, you'd have to figure out how to download or record the Amazon version to burn it onto it. It's just illegal. We're not encouraging people to do that, but yeah. Owen Dennis the creator, on his Twitter, he actually lamented in his bio that now the only way to watch it is piracy. Well, it also, I guess it's I don't know the situation about how he got them to make Infinity Train. I mean, did he have a product and they approached him and he made it into that, or did he go to them?
It was a short first that was a Cartoon Network showed, and then that got made into a show for Cartoon Network because there was enough response to justify it. And then at some point that, like Summer Camp Island, that got converted into an HBOMax original.
Because they're trying to move things
to make room for Teen Titans Go.
Well, it also everybody's looking at streaming as the future.
Yes,
and linear television is going to go away at some point.
So that was during Cartoon Network's Teen Titans Go or bust phase as well.
Okay, so they're trying to make room
for more Teen Titans Go, and they've since calmed down about that.
You would think, though, I mean, streaming almost, because storage, is my understanding, is relatively cheap to buy a hard drive or to store something.
Yeah,
I don't know the intricacies of a streaming service.
I don't imagine it'll be that expensive to just store a show on a server.
Now, there's also, again, things beyond just having the rights to it. Is you have to pay residuals every time it's shown, and maybe if you're already losing money, you don't want to keep losing money on it. I guess it can also be I don't know how they quantify. I guess I paid you a bunch of money for a show, I put it on my streaming service, and does that? I might get some more people that sign up because your show's on, but I don't know if it justifies the price. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Netflix paid out tons of money, billions of dollars to produce stuff, and their viewership is kind of going down, or was going down, right?
Yeah. With Netflix, it's because like the quality of the content is just super low because it seems like they clearly don't care.
I think the thought is I'll put it up and people will watch.
Yeah, like they thought they could. I mean, look what happened to Cowboy Bebop. Like live action.
Yeah, well, that's just a mistake.
And the other reason Netflix kept canceling shows is because they wanted to make room for more new shows. So because they greenlit too many.
Oh.
So we're gonna cancel this even though it's super popular after 2 seasons because we need to make room for more.
But again, I don't understand how you're making room for it. It's not like you have prime time and it's 3 hours times 7, so I got 21, 22 hours of prime time, and I can't show your show anymore because I got this other show I want to show. Your streaming it's just out there in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess I don't understand how.
Probably room for making them, I guess.
But I mean, if I've already made it and you already have it, why just not leave it on there?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the part I don't understand. I'm not pretending to understand the business that way, but it just seems to me like just buy a bigger storage drive and keep it going.
Oh, and then what also happens is what has happened before is like there's been instances of linear television rescuing streaming shows that were canceled.
Right.
One example was Tuca and Birdie, which was a Netflix series. And it has the same character designer as BoJack Horseman.
Okay.
So that's why it looks similar.
Yeah.
And that got canceled. Then Adult Swim picked it up, and then also mocked Netflix for canceling it.
But again, a show like BoJack Horseman,
Yeah.
The producer made that and owns it. The Netflix got, they showed it. Netflix, was that
Yeah.
who showed it? They showed it for a while, but their license to it expired, and so the BoJack Horseman producer can sell it wherever he wants to.
Right.
So that's kind of again, that's probably a difference between being an original and being an acquired product or whatever.
Yeah.
But
if it's an original, then it's especially hard when that gets pulled.
Right.
Because that limits accessibility.
Well, does that mean you're going to stop watching HBOMax?
I mean, as long as there's still stuff on HBO Max, I'll probably keep watching it, but there is kind of less incentive to do it, especially if I have a physical copy of it.
The concern I would have is that they're going to someday stop having, like, I'll say TCM as a standalone channel.
Yeah.
And you can only get it through HBO Max.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of fear I have, is they're going to get rid of.
Well, one of the things they're actually going to remove off of HBO Max is something TCM related.
Really? Like what?
If I can have a second to pull this up.
The internet's right here.
Yes. Turner Classic Movies Follow the Thread. They've removed that.
Oh. That might have been just sort of a series that they were, they sometimes do themes.
Yeah.
And I had fun. That sounds like a theme they were doing. So, and that probably ended anyway. That was like an August thing on TCM.
Yeah.
But I think they had more stuff on HBO Max. And that's the other thing is, if you're liking watching TCM, and I always hate it no matter what you're watching when they say, and go watch over, stop watching this and go watch over here. Well, I don't want to, I don't have that necessarily, or why are you telling me to just turn you off? You know what I mean?
Right.
We're continuing coverage on our streaming platform. Like, okay, so I'll turn you off. Why are you telling me to turn yourself off? I don't understand that thinking.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. So, how does this affect Power Squared?
Well,
Anyway,
nice transition. We have been trying to put together a pitch to try to make it animated.
yeah, we think, we think the story is good enough.
No promise at the moment.
No,
but
and we're having to really take a hard. I mean, we started the comic book with zero prep. We just decided we wanted to do one. I mean, we didn't scour and read a bunch of books. We just decided to do one, and we've learned a lot as we've done it. And the idea of trying to pitch an animated show based on it, we're gonna have to make some changes. Or
yeah, but we've been working on a pitch. So of course, our question is like, if you try to get feedback from someone, the question is going to be like, who are you planning to pitch it to? Because you have to appeal to the pitch is trying to appeal to the buyer, which would be the channel or streaming service. But with all the shifts going on in Hollywood, including with HBOMax, it's a little hard at the moment to figure out who the right fit is. So because also channels like Cartoon Network or Disney have been getting a lot stricter with the kind of shows they want.
Yeah, we don't have any songs in ours, so we'll be on Disney. Yeah, and if we pitch this to HBO Max, hey, we still like you, but we're just disappointed that you're pulling shows off.
Yeah.
Here, and if you want to replace one of those shows with ours, that'd be great. But anyway, it does make you, and I think the most important thing for us is to get a really good pitch going before we worry about where we're going to sell it, or try to sell it. But it is sort of, you kind of feel like the golden age of animation on television is kind of past, maybe. It might come back when they realize they've made a huge mistake, but you never know.
Yeah. I guess parting statement would be, it's like, I understand why people use streaming services. Like, we even use some ourselves to watch stuff.
Yeah.
Especially with stuff that's not otherwise available physically. However, the best way to ensure that you'll be able to watch something whenever you want, even far into the future, is to have a
physical copy.
Yeah, I'm just holding this up for convenience, but just to have a physical copy.
Right. I'm saying it in case you're listening.
Yeah.
This is the answer. What? All right.
So if you liked this, if you're watching this on YouTube and you liked this, leave a like and subscribe and ring the bell if you want to see more. If you have your own thoughts about digital or physical and what's been going on with streaming, then leave a comment below.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Okay, so until next time, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins.
And you've been on the air with Power Squared.